The cabin smells like leather that has never been touched by a stranger. Not the leather of a car dealership, not the leather of a hotel lobby. This is hand-stitched, climate-sealed, cabin-grade leather that exists in exactly one context on Earth, and you are standing inside it. Your Gulfstream G700. 3 hours off the paperwork. A flight attendant, your flight attendant, full-time, salaried, sets a glass of champagne on a side table that weighs more than most kitchen counters. Your phone buzzes. 11 congratulations texts. A photo from Marcus, your business partner. Same jet, same model, purchased from the same dealer on the same afternoon. A thumbs up from his own cabin across the tarmac. The caption, "We made it." You pull a cocktail napkin from beneath the champagne glass. You uncap a pen. You write one number, your estimate, your best guess, what you believe this jet will cost you per year, all in, and fold the napkin into your jacket pocket. The check cleared 6 hours ago, $78 million. You lean back into a seat that reclines so far it feels like an apology for every commercial flight you've ever taken. The leather cradles the back of your neck. The cabin is silent. The champagne is cold. The napkin in your pocket is wrong by a factor of 3. The delivery. 3 weeks later. The jet sits in a private FBO terminal, and a concierge says your name before you've touched the glass door. Inside, a folder rests on a mahogany side table, 3 inches thick. Your aircraft management company prepared it, the full operating manual for ownership. You don't open it. Not today. Today is the first real flight. You board. 2 pilots, your pilots, both salaried, both on payroll whether the wheels leave the ground or not, walk you through pre-flight checks from the cockpit doorway. The chief pilot mentions a scheduled maintenance window in 4 months. Standard stuff, he says. We'll need the aircraft for about 10 days. 10 days. You nod. You don't ask what 10 days of grounded maintenance costs when crew salaries still run, the hangar lease still bills, and the insurance premium doesn't pause for a phone call. 2 hours and 14 minutes later, you land at Teterboro. A flight coordinator holds out a tablet as you step onto the tarmac. The FBO handling fee, $2,800. You flew for 2 hours. The fee for parking and processing your aircraft at the destination, not the fuel, not the crew, just the privilege of your jet sitting on their concrete, is $2,800. You tap approve. You don't read the itemization. Back home, the 3-inch folder sits on the mahogany table. Page 47 holds a projected annual operating cost summary. The number on that page is not the number on the napkin in your jacket. You won't open that folder for another 3 months. By then, the number inside it will already be out of date. The hangar. 2 months in. You visit the hangar on a day you're not flying. You just want to see it. Your G700, sitting in a climate-controlled bay next to 3 other jets belonging to 3 people you've never met. Marcus texts a photo from his hangar in another city. His G700 is parked next to a Bombardier Global 7500, owned by someone he's been trying to meet for 2 years. Funny thing, Marcus writes, we're hangar neighbors now. Had coffee with him yesterday. You look at your jet. It hasn't moved in 11 days. Your management company sends a monthly utilization report. Clean formatting. Your tail number at the top. At the bottom of the first page, a line item in bold. Monthly fixed costs, $426,000. You read it a second time. 4 flights in 2 months. You divide in your head, $426,000 divided by 4. That's $106,500 per flight, before fuel. A maintenance technician walks past the nose gear carrying a clipboard. He doesn't look up. He's checking something on the landing gear assembly you couldn't name if someone pointed at it. You signed a management contract that pays other people to know what you don't. Your jet sits in a $38,000 per month hangar. Crew salaries, running. Insurance, running. Management fee, running. The jet has not moved in 11 days. Right now, it is an extraordinarily beautiful, perfectly maintained, $78 million piece of furniture. Marcus texts again that evening. He's flying to London tomorrow, his 9th flight in 2 months. He's already introduced himself to 3 people through the hangar alone. You look at the utilization report. 4 flights, same monthly fixed cost, The same $426,000. Half the experience. The calendar. 5 months in. Sunday night. You open the calendar on your phone and scroll to Friday. A dinner. The group you've eaten with for 3 years. The restaurant with the $420 prix-fixe. The table by the window. Tonight, you hover over the RSVP. Last week, a sensor in the avionics suite flagged an anomaly during a post-flight check. Routine. Invisible. The kind of thing that shows up in a diagnostic log and never announces itself with a sound or a light. The part. $14,000. The labor to diagnose, remove, replace, and recertify. $73,000. Total invoice. $87,000. One sensor. One system. One flight that was otherwise uneventful. You paid it. You had no choice. The aircraft is either airworthy or grounded. There is no, "I'll handle it next month." Private aviation doesn't offer a grace period. The FAA doesn't negotiate. You tap decline on the dinner. Not because $420 is too much. Because $420 now exists in a universe where $87,000 invoices arrive without warning, without negotiation, without a payment plan. Every dollar sits in the shadow of the next unscheduled repair. Every discretionary expense answers to a new authority, and that authority has a tail number. You cancel 2 more dinners that month. You skip a weekend trip with friends. You tell people you're busy. You open the 3-inch folder for the first time. Page 47. Projected annual operating cost, $4.2 million. You pull the napkin from your jacket. $1.6 million. Your handwriting, your estimate, your champagne math. The gap, $2.6 million per year. And $4.2 million was the projection, the brochure number, the management company's best-case scenario. Your actual run rate through 5 months, annualized against real invoices including unscheduled maintenance, tracks closer to $5.8 million. 3 numbers on the kitchen counter, the napkin, the folder, the invoice portal on your phone. $1.6 million. $4.2 million. $5.8 million. The napkin was never a calculation. It was a wish, written in champagne ink. The folder was never a guarantee. It was a sales tool, formatted to look like a promise. The only honest number is the one the invoices produce, and invoices don't negotiate. The inspection. Month 10. The maintenance window arrives. The one the chief pilot mentioned on delivery day. Standard stuff. 10 days. The aircraft goes to an authorized Gulfstream service center. 10 days becomes 12. 12 becomes 17. A hairline crack surfaces on an engine mount bracket during non-destructive testing, invisible to the naked eye, discovered only because the inspection protocol demands it. The bracket must be replaced. The engine partially disassembled to access it. The parts are back-ordered. 6 days. Your management company sends daily updates, each one polite, professional, formatted identically. Each one ending with an updated cost projection that moves in only one direction. Original inspection estimate, $380,000. Day 4, $680,000. Day 11, after the bracket, $1.1 million. The jet is in pieces in a facility 800 miles away. Your fixed costs continue at $426,000 per month. Crew salaries don't pause. The hangar lease doesn't pause. Insurance doesn't call and say, "We noticed you can't fly, we'll wait." You need to get to Chicago for a meeting. Your management company arranges a charter on someone else's jet. A G650, similar cabin, similar service, 3-hour flight. Charter cost, one way, $42,000. You sit in the chartered aircraft. The seats are leather. The cabin is quiet. The champagne arrives without being asked for. The experience is functionally identical to every flight you've taken on your own jet. This flight costs $42,000. Your own jet, grounded, disassembled, 800 miles south, costs $1.1 million this month alone. Add the fixed costs running concurrently. Total for the month, roughly $1.57 million. You flew 0 times on your own aircraft. You paid $1.57 million. The chartered flight lands in Chicago. You step off. Nobody checks your passport through a crowd. The terminal is private. The car is waiting. The experience is the same. For the first time, a calculation runs that you've never run before. What if you had been chartering this entire time? You check your phone. A new update from the service center. Bracket replacement went smoothly. Engine reassembly begins tomorrow. Estimated return to service, 5 more days. Final invoice, $1.14 million. You close the email. You used to forward these updates to Marcus. You haven't texted Marcus in 3 weeks. The call. Month 14, 9:40 p.m. on a Tuesday. The phone rings. Not a text, a call. Marcus. You almost don't answer. 2 months of silence sits between you. Marcus sold his jet 12 days ago. He tells you this the way someone describes a medical procedure they've already recovered from. Calm, rehearsed, a half-beat too casual. He sold to a buyer in the Middle East, through a broker, at a price that took 6 weeks of negotiation to reach. Purchase price 14 months ago, $78 million. Sale price, $61 million. $17 million in depreciation. 14 months. That's $1.2 million per month in value vanishing from an asset that sat in a hangar, flew occasionally, and looked spectacular doing both. Marcus runs the total. He doesn't wait for you to ask. Purchase, $78 million. Operating costs over 14 months, $7.8 million. He flew more than you, 26 flights. Sale price, $61 million. Net cost of owning a private jet for 14 months, $24.8 million. 26 flights. $953,846 per flight. The line goes quiet for a moment, then Marcus says it. I chartered last week. G700. Same route I used to fly. Cost me $180,000 round trip. The experience was identical. I don't know what I was paying for. You hang up. The kitchen is dark except for the light above the stove. The refrigerator hums. You open your management company's portal on the laptop. Navigate to the depreciation schedule. Current estimated market value of your G700, $63 million. You paid $78 million 15 months ago. $15 million. Not spent, not invested, not leveraged, gone. Evaporated from a line item on a screen while you were canceling dinner reservations and approving FBO fees. On the kitchen counter, next to the laptop, sits a leather bag. You bought it at the Gulfstream delivery? A matched set, same leather as the cabin. The salesperson had said, when you see this leather, you'll think of the cabin. The leather smells the same. You think of $15 million. Marcus charters now. Same aircraft type, same routes. Same champagne in the same glasses. He flies more than he did as an owner, because every flight doesn't carry $426,000 in monthly obligations behind it. He sounded lighter on the phone than he has in over a year. You close the laptop. The leather bag sits on the counter. It still smells like the cabin. The napkin. Month 18. You fly your jet to Miami. The flight is smooth. The cabin is quiet. The leather smells the same as the day you signed the paperwork. Hand-stitched, sealed, untouched by anyone you haven't hired. After the meeting, you sit alone in the jet on the tarmac at Opa-locka Executive Airport. The pilots are at the FBO. The flight attendant is restocking the galley. The cabin is empty, except for you and $78 million of depreciating airframe. You reach into the seat pocket. The napkin is still there. You unfold it. $1.6 million. Your handwriting, your pen, your number. You open the laptop. You pull up every invoice from the past 18 months. Every line item, every fee, every surprise, every sensor, every bracket, every FBO handling charge and crew, per diem and management premium, and insurance installment, and fuel receipt, and software update, and hangar lease payment, and catering invoice, and landing fee. You build the spreadsheet you should have built before you signed the purchase agreement. It takes 40 minutes. The cabin gets dark outside the panoramic windows. You turn on the reading light above your seat. The real number, $8.4 million per year. All in. Annualized across 18 months of actual ownership. $1.6 million versus $8.4 million. You stare at the napkin. The handwriting hasn't changed. The optimism hasn't faded from the ink. The $6.8 million gap between what you believed and what is true sits between your two hands. The napkin in the left, the laptop in the right. $8.4 million per year is $23,000 per day. Every day. Whether you fly or not. While you sleep. While you cancel plans. While you sit alone in a dark cabin doing math you should have done before the champagne. $958 per hour. Right now. This hour. The one you're spending staring at a napkin. You fold the napkin. You put it back in the seat pocket. You close the laptop. The reading light clicks off. The cabin smells like leather. It always smells like leather. $23,000 a day. And it smells exactly the same as it did when you thought it would cost $1.6 million a year. The table. Month 22. You accept a dinner invitation. The first in 5 months. Same restaurant. Same friends. Same $420 prefix. Same table by the window. A cloth napkin sits folded into a triangle on the plate. You pick it up. You think of another napkin. Halfway through dinner, a friend leans across the table. She's flying to Aspen next week. We chartered a jet, she says. Split it 4 ways, $11,000 each. So easy. She describes the experience, the private terminal, the leather seats, the quiet cabin, the champagne they didn't have to ask for. She is describing your life. She paid $11,000 for it. You smile. You say nothing. Under the table, your phone buzzes. The management company. Monthly operating report. You don't open it. You don't need to. You know the number. You always know the number now. $426,000 in fixed costs. Fuel for the 3 flights you took this month. $87,000. A scheduled avionics software update. $41,000. Total. $554,000. Your friend paid $11,000. You paid $554,000 this month for the right to have the same experience available whenever you want it, even though you used it 3 times. The $420 prefix arrives. You eat it. The seared base. The reduction that took someone all afternoon to build. The bread with the salt crust you used to break apart without thinking about cost. This entire dinner, the food, the wine, the friends, the 2 hours of conversation, costs less than 1 hour of owning your jet. After dinner, you walk to your car alone. The air is warm. The city hums. Traffic, voices, a restaurant patio somewhere down the block. You haven't heard the city in a while. You've been hearing cabin silence and climate-controlled hangars and the particular quiet of an aircraft that costs $23,000 a day to keep quiet. Your friend who chartered for $11,000 is already texting about her next trip. She doesn't think about jets between flights. She doesn't carry a monthly number in her chest. She rents the experience. You married it. And the prenup was written by the maintenance company. Ending month 24. The broker finds a buyer in 6 weeks. Sale price, $58 million. You paid $78 million. Depreciation loss, $20 million. Total operating costs over 24 months, $14 million. Total cost of owning a private jet for 2 years, $34 million. You flew it 41 times. $34 million divided by 41 flights. $829,268 per flight. The broker sends final paperwork by email. You sign from your living room. No champagne. No congratulations texts. No leather smell in the air. A pen on a screen and a number that closes 2 years of your financial life. 1 week later. An airport. Not the private terminal, the main terminal. You board a first-class commercial flight to London. The seat is leather. You buckle in. The cabin is louder. The windows are smaller. A flight attendant moves down the aisle with a tray. You take a glass of champagne. You smell the leather. It's not the same. Commercial leather. Different process. Different hands. Different life. Touched by thousands. But for one moment, it catches. Close enough to trigger the memory. You think of the napkin. $1.6 million. You think of the folder. $4.2 million. You think of the spreadsheet in the dark cabin. $8.4 million. You think of the final number. $34 million. You take a sip. First class cost $8,400 round trip. You close your eyes. The engines are louder up here. You can hear them. The G700 was too quiet. You'd forget you were moving. This sound is different. It means you're going somewhere without owing anything when you land. The leather doesn't smell like the cabin. It smells like the ground. You prefer it. The most expensive thing about a private jet was never the jet. It was the version of yourself who believed that owning one meant you'd arrived, when all it meant was that you'd started paying. Before you buy any asset that costs money to own, a house, a car, a boat, a jet, build the spreadsheet before you sign, not after. Add every cost that runs whether you use it or not. Multiply by 5 years. If that number changes how the purchase feels, the purchase is telling you something. Listen, if this changed how you think about what ownership actually costs, subscribe. The next video applies this same lens to something 90% of you are currently paying for. You're going to want to see that number.